Good day, everyone. I had most everything gathered up a while ago when I did the earlier video, and it's still January the 10th, and the potting soil I use is the perlite, and I get this from Grower Supply, but it's through Amazon. You can look it up, perlite on Amazon, and I like it over the Miracle Grow because Miracle Grow perlite does have a fertilizer already added, a chemical fertilizer, and so I go with the natural. And like at this time of year, if I'm potting up something, which I did in the earlier video, I really don't want it to have fertilizer on it, and the low light level and all makes the plant shoot up and be kind of spindly, and I don't like that at this time of year. So this is what I use. And the cocoa shell ground up, and one of these blocks, you'd just amazed at how much it does. When you add water to it, it swells up and just is an enormous amount of potting mix, and then just regular old peat moss, and which this is some that is quite old and had been over at my daughter's and my ex's, and they had put it out under some pine trees, and some roots grew into it, but it's still good, and it is kind of composted a little bit where it's broke down. It's not as much peat moss as it was. It is still, anyway, I use pretty much the cup up here is a gallon container, and it's just a real heavy little pot that I can use as a scoop. And so I mix 1 part cocoa, 1 part peat, and 1+ parts perlite, and it's just a matter of sometimes I put in a little extra perlite to make it drain better and all, but that's the basic recipe for my potting mix that I do my kratom, and I've got using it in a lot of other things. And so anyway, that was just this video. I was just doing that and kind of a walk and talk. Thought I would show off some of my camellias and things around the yard. Had just listened to the news a while ago, and I heard that Trump was on his way to the border, and I had already heard this morning in a couple of newscasts and interviews that were done with different folks that are in the government or work for the government, air traffic controllers and border patrol. I bet in his interviews, or wherever he shows up, they ain't none of them border patrollers that have filed a lawsuit. I bet they don't show them. Or the air traffic controllers that are calling in using sick days that they had accumulated. I thought it'd be kind of cute if Air Force One had to stay on a runway somewhere in Texas because there wasn't nobody there to direct them. And of course, 100% of all the government employees that are off right now are 100% behind him and his wall. And he's talking about declaring a national emergency because he can't get his way. Makes about as much sense to me as him declaring a national emergency because he thinks Mickey Mouse is more popular than Donald Duck, and he likes Donald Duck because he's Donald Prick. But anyway, life goes on. At this point in time, I've seen no way that it's really harming me, and so I just voice off my opinion, having been in the military and served the United States. I kind of feel like I have a right to voice my opinion. And I do have ideas and have expressed them in ways that I'm not just complaining about it. I do try to help solve. I'd a long time ago heard a thing about if you wasn't helping solve the problem, then you were part of the problem. And so I do, you know, we could take and tear down Trump Towers, put it down there on the border, which I just don't think we need a border wall myself. But that's one of the things that I had thought about we need a border wall about like we need Trump Towers, so we can just tear the friggin' tower down and move it out there and make a wall. Some other things is, you know, he's been raising campaign money for a couple of years now. He can take that money and build his friggin' wall. See, all kind of little helpful ideas this morning. I hadn't noticed this. This is a forsythia has started blooming with all the warm weather that we've been having. I had one day last week in the 80s. These white ones were just so pretty in here. But it's where I can't get a very good picture of them. But anyway, like I said, this was just a little walk and talk. I don't know what they've seen over there. There's been a stray dog or two around the last few days. And it may be I see my neighbor going out to his mailbox or her mailbox. But anyway, everyone have a blessed day.